doesn't matter what your background is, if you've been in sales, if you haven't, if you know anything about life insurance. Are you willing to work? Can you put in the activity? Can you control the mindset? If you can manage those two things, you can be successful with Family First Life. All right, welcome to True Talk. We are going to do something a little bit different this week. I don't have a guest with me. I am just going to talk to you about who we are as a company, Family First Life. And if you are in sales, I guess the one question I have for you is, why are you not working with Family First Life? And sales, you know, we've been doing this now, Family First Life, since 2013. The president of the company, Sean Mike, myself, and a handful of others, we used to work at another IMO selling life insurance. And in 2013, we left that company, started this company. And our goal from day one, because we both were producers at this last company, our goal was to create a company that was the best possible place for an insurance agent, for an insurance producer, because that was a life that we lived for years. To be straight up, the reason we left the other company was we were putting in a lot of work. We were selling a lot of insurance, but we weren't making much money because of the compensation levels, the fees, and things of that nature. So when we left that company and started FFL, our goal was to take everything we liked about insurance sales, duplicate, and everything we didn't improve upon. And now, you know, almost 12 years later, I think we've accomplished that. So I wanted to break down the three most important things about sales. So a lot of you guys that watch our content, if you're not with us, you're probably in sales. That's why it's hitting your feed. The number one most important thing is the product. What are you selling? Number two are your clients. Who are your clients? And number three is the pay. How do you get paid? At the end of the day, I'm not here. You're not watching this. You're not looking into a sales opportunity because you don't want to get paid. That is the most important part. And that is why I'm sitting here today at Family First Life and not the company we worked with in the past, because we wanted to get paid. We wanted to get paid more. So the number one thing, the product. There's all kinds of different sales industries, companies. Some of you guys selling cars, selling vacuums, selling Tupperware, selling solar, selling real estate. Some of y'all still selling crypto. Timeshares. We sell life insurance. The product is important because for a multitude of reasons. Number one, you can't sell something people don't need or want. Well, you could, but you're going to lead to cancelizations, and you're probably going to upset a lot of people. And it's going to be an uphill battle. The idea of life insurance is something that everybody needs. So I'd ask you, if you are in sales right now, what product are you selling? And do people actually need it? And how much do they need it? Because you could argue somebody needs a new car, but they probably came to the lot in a car. Maybe it's more of a want. Maybe when the economy is good, you sell more. Maybe when it's not, you sell less. I mean, I have a lot of friends who have been in real estate, and it ebbs and flows. The economy's great. Interest rates are great. Real estate's booming. When it's not, it's not. Not for everybody. So are you selling something that can withstand the ups and downs? Solar, you're limited from a client base. You're limited to homeowners. You can't put solar panels on your apartment or a place that you rent. Timeshares, you're also limited to the economy. People go on vacation when they have money. When they don't, they don't. Life insurance is a staple. It is something that everybody needs. And I've been in this business long enough now to see what happens during recessions, what happened even during a pandemic. And I've not seen any major dips in life insurance. In fact, during a lot of those times when money's tight, when the economy is not where everybody wants it to be, there's a lot more life insurance being sold, because life insurance is the one type of insurance that you are guaranteed to use. If you own a house, you have homeowners insurance. If you own a car, you have car insurance. Most of y'all have insurance on your phones. Everybody, in pet insurance, rent, all this stuff. You're not guaranteed to use it. You're not guaranteed for your house to flood and use your homeowner's insurance. You're not guaranteed to get into an accident and use your car insurance. We all will die at some point or another. None of us get out of here alive. So life insurance is the one insurance that you are guaranteed to use. Hence why, regardless of the economy, regardless of the financial state, people buy life insurance. It's important. It's a product that everybody needs. So speaking of everybody needs, who are your clients? We talked about with real estate, your clients are people buying, selling homes. But again, when the economy isn't where it needs to be, does that happen as much? You're at a car lot, your clients are people walking onto the car lot. Our clients, Family First Life, who we deal with are middle American families. So even within the insurance space, there's different pools, different pockets of clients. So we never wanted to be what that, I guess, traditional, stereotypical life insurance agent was. Most people, when you hear life insurance agent, you think of a guy in his 50s with a cheap three-piece suit, pie charts, brochures, all this crap, 2-hour-long presentation, big, massive monthly premiums, stuff people can't afford, everybody's head spinning by the end of the appointment. That's not what we do. We also, from a client standpoint, we looked at who is the most underserved percentage of the population when it came to life insurance. People that had money had life insurance. I grew up with not much money. I grew up pretty poor. We didn't have a life insurance guy come to the house. But our clients, if Family First Life was around when I was a kid, we would have had an agent come to the house. We deal with middle American families. When I started in this business, it was predominantly mortgage protection. What is mortgage protection? Mortgage protection is you have a loan, you have a mortgage, you refied, you own a house, and you buy a term life policy to cover you for the term of that mortgage. We did a lot of that. We do a lot of final expense insurance. I'll get into the specific products in a little bit, but our clients, how do you get your clients is another big piece. A lot of these sales industries that I named, solar, selling vacuums, timeshares, even real estate, your client base a lot of times are the people you know. I don't know about you, but I don't know thousands of people that are going to buy a product I'm selling. A lot of other companies, your product base are people you're randomly showing up in the neighborhood knocking on doors. There's companies that everybody hops in a van, they go to a neighborhood, let everybody out, they go knocking on doors. Hey, do you want to buy this? You'll make some sales. You definitely will. But what is your conversion rate? How much time are you spending sourcing clients? How much time are you spending looking for clients versus how much time are you spending doing income-producing activities? And in sales, the only income-producing activity is sitting down selling something. So are you cold calling? Are you having to create a list of your friends and family? Or are you getting leads? And leads another topic where not all leads are created equal. In the 10, 12 years that we've been around, I've interviewed a lot of agents that have come from other insurance companies, other companies in general. And one of my, least favorite ideas is the whole bait and switch lead. And y'all know the companies. There's a handful of you guys out there where the lead says one thing, doesn't say life insurance. It may say a free care kit. It may say you want a vacation. It may say some bullshit. And then I show up and go, yeah, no, I know that said you're going to get this free whatever, this kit, this, that. And then I try to sell you life insurance. Now, the thing about life insurance is everybody needs it. So these companies, they've been around. They make money. But the problem is a lot of these places, you might be at a place like this, the 1, 2, 3 people at the top, they're making money. You're not. And when we started this company, our goal was to make sure the guy doing most of the work, the guy sitting in front of the client, calling the client on the phone, the guy or girl selling that life insurance policy kept most of the money. That was important, not the opposite, because we lived that for too long. So who are your clients? Where are you getting them from? And then the third piece, probably the most important, is the pay. Like I said, we believe that the agent The life insurance agent who is sitting down making the sale should keep most of the money from the sale. They should be paid more because they're doing the work. So from a pay standpoint, with Family First Life, it's 100% commission. There's no draw. There's no salary. It's 100% commission. And it may not be for everybody, and that's okay. Commission-based sales is a grind. It's hard work. It's a lot of work. But the payoff is, it's really unlimited. There's no cap. So from a commission standpoint, you're going to start at least at an 80% compensation level here. When we were at this other company, we started around 50%. And the good thing about the compensation is, well, there's a lot of good things, but one of the good things is the fact that you control your compensation rate, meaning the more you sell, the more you're going to move up this chart, the more your commission will go up, and you can go all the way up to 145%. You can pass the person who recruited you. You can level up to their contract. They'll still make money and bonuses and things of that nature. The system is designed for the producer to come in and make as much money as they want to make. The beauty about this business is it all falls on you. So I'm telling you all the good. Does it work for everybody? No, absolutely not. It absolutely does not. It probably works for about a third of the people that come in. But the thing about who it works for is it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what your background is, if you've been in sales, if you haven't, if you know anything about life insurance or you don't. What it comes down to at the end of the day is, are you willing to work? Can you put in the activity? And can you control the mindset? Do you have the right attitude? Those two things, if you can manage those two things, you can be successful with Family First Life. If you can't, you won't. You 100% won't. So those are the top three things. Most important, and I don't care what sales industry you're in, the most important things about sales are the product that you're selling, your clients, who they are, where do you get them, and the pay. So we're going to dig into the products a little bit. If you know anything about insurance or don't, by the next few minutes, you'll understand at least what we do. So we sell 3 different products predominantly: term life, whole life, and independent index universal life. We do sell some fixed index annuities as well. Not going to get into that today. But from a life insurance standpoint, we sell simplified issue life insurance. What does that mean? So what some of you guys may be used to back in the day, every policy sold required a medical, a paramed exam, they call it. Nurse comes out, takes your blood, takes your urine, blood pressure, asks you a laundry list of health questions. That then gets sent out to the carrier. Now, this is after your agent came out, so let me back up. Agent comes out, or nowadays everything's done over the phone. Agent calls you up, asks you a bunch of questions, quotes you a rate that you're probably not going to get. They're going to give you, super preferred rate. They're going to tell you it will be $25 a month for $2 million of coverage. And then the nurse comes out, takes your blood, you pee in a cup, they ask you a bunch of questions, blood pressure, family history, all that good stuff. They send it to the carrier. The carrier then looks at all this information, looks at your health history, looks at your doctor's records, and then determines what rate they're going to give you. And from the time the agent goes out to the time you get that rate can be anywhere from a week, 2-3 weeks, couple months, who knows? That's called fully underwritten life insurance. Then the rate that you receive is the rate you're stuck with. So what happens more often than not is people think they're a lot healthier than they really are. They forget about a few medications they were taking, or they don't go to the doctor much, and then they do this paramed exam, and they find something wrong with them. Good thing they found it, but now it impacts the price of your life insurance indefinitely. So, simplified issue. What's simplified issue life insurance? Simplified issue is non-medical life insurance. Life insurance industry utilizes the Medical Information Bureau, the MIB, and a prescription history check for simplified issue products. What does that mean? If I'm meeting with a client Every carrier we represent has a different underwriting guide. I asked you these health questions. I put this information into my computer. The carrier runs a prescription history check to make sure everything lines up. So if you said you never had a heart attack, but you're taking medication that indicates you had a heart attack, then we're going to have some explaining to do. If you said you've never had cancer, but you have medication that indicates you had treatment for cancer, we're going to have some explaining to do. But if everything lines up, exactly what you were quoted for is what you'd get approved for right on the spot. The beauty about simplified issue is you get a decision on the spot versus weeks, months later with fully underwritten. So what we do is 99% simplified issue, and it also matches up with our client base. Most of our clients have no insurance or are severely underinsured. Most of our clients are middle American, blue-collar families. Their simplified issue life insurance is right up their alley. It's a lot easier to get. It's a lot more predictable. The price is the price. And now from a product standpoint, we have contracts. Family First Life has contracts with a couple dozen insurance carriers. What does that mean? Really what that means is we're able to find the best product for the individual client. When we started the company, Sean had this rule. We call it the three-legged stool approach. When we're making a decision for the company, the decision has to be best for three pieces. One, the client. One, the company. And the last one, the carriers. Three-legged stool approach. If the decision is good for all three, it's a good decision. If it's not for one of them, it's not a good decision. We use that simple practice for all decisions made at the company. So, simplified issue, life insurance, mortgage protection is a term insurance product. We do a lot of this. And you know, how would you know what product to write? You'll know when you meet your client. You'll know based off of the lead. You will know. Simplified issue, mortgage protection. It's a term life insurance product. There's terms that go 15, 20, 30 years. Non-med. The big selling point with term life insurance for mortgage protection is the return of premium or cashback option. So let's say the policy costs the client $1,000 a year, $83 and change a month roughly, which is pretty in line with an average premium. The client pays this policy for 30 years. Let's say his mortgage is $250,000. In those 30 years, if he dies, beneficiary gets $250K. If the client does not pass away in those 30 years, there is a full return of premium cashback option. So you paid $1,000 a year for 30 years. You got $30K in this policy. You don't pass, the carrier sends it all back to you at the end of the policy. You do pass, your family gets $250K. Product sells itself. There's that. We sell that predominantly for mortgage protection. Then there's whole life. We meet with a lot of senior citizens, a lot of people that are at that retirement age in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. There's products that cover up to age 85. There's some that even go a little bit above that. And final expense is a product. The product that we sell, the whole life that we sell, is permanent whole life. The thing about final expense insurance, there's a lot of crap out there. There's a lot of policies that are sold as whole life, but then the premium increases every 5 years, or the policy ends at age 80, with life expectancy being 78, 79 nowadays. I don't know that we want a policy that ends at age 80. The carriers we work with, the whole life policies that we sell, the price that you're quoted at, your monthly premium at the time of purchasing the policy, does not increase ever. It stays the same for the life of the policy. And the policy does not end. In fact, if you reach, I think it's age 120 with a lot of these carriers, they will just pay it out to you. They'll say, well, shit, you're 120 years old, probably should be dead anyways. Here's your death benefit. Not really. But they last forever. They do not go up. True permanent life insurance. That's what we sell. And that was another thing when we started the company was we wanted to make sure that after we met with a client, regardless of what happened, we put them in a better position than they were in before we got there. We left them in an improved situation. And with products like this, we're able to do that. The third product we sell predominantly is the Index Universal Life. This is a product that has some cash value in it. We are not series licensed. We're just life and health licensed, so we cannot sell you any variable products. Our Index Universal Life are all fixed. There's no downside market risk. Index means, in a nutshell, when the market does well, the product does well, your cash value does well, and if the market tanks, your interest rate will just level out. You can never lose a dime in these products. So Index Universal Life is great for retirement, great for funding college funds for kids, things of that nature. We do a lot of Index Universal Life. So those are the products. Leads, clients, that definitely one of the most important aspects of any sales industry. I said this earlier. When you're in sales, you need to spend most of your time doing income-producing activities. Finding clients is not an income-producing activity. Sitting down with a client talking about life insurance or whatever you're selling, that's an income-producing activity. So how do you get in front of more clients, qualified clients? You got to have leads. You got to have leads. I personally would never sell anything without leads. Do leads cost money? Yes, 100%. Good ones do. If someone says they have nothing but free leads for you, they're probably not that good. I've worked free leads. I've worked cheap leads. I've worked expensive leads. I've worked all leads. With Family First Life, we give you access to these leads. We don't produce them ourselves. We have vendors that we work with. We've negotiated deals with. Because of how big our agent force is, we're able to get most of these leads at a fraction of the price as if, you were to go to the company directly. So we have a lot of vendors that we may recommend or at least point you in the right direction towards. The thing about the leads that we deal with, they're all high intent. The leads are very straightforward. And this is something that's remained true since the day I got my insurance license. The first lead I saw was a mortgage protection lead. Had the client's name, had their loan amount. It had all this information on it. The lead, this was a direct mail lead, was sent out to the client after they bought their home. Client puts all their information down, name, date of birth, height and weight, phone number, their wife's name, their wife's date of birth, their wife's height and weight. Imagine that. The husband had to go to the wife and go, hey, what's your weight? Put your date of birth. Put all that down and send it in the mail to a stranger. We now receive that loan amount, all their personal information. We'd call them up. Back then we went to the house. Now we call them up and meet with them over the phone. But the call is pretty simple. Hey, Tom, you filled out this form, sent it back to me about life insurance. You're looking to cover the mortgage for $250K over at 123 Main Street. Yeah, that was me. Okay, my job's simple. My job's just to get you some information on this product and show you what you're eligible for and help you apply. You're going to be around tomorrow between whatever, 4 and 5. You call people that filled something out, and you tell them you're going to come over. You tell them you're going to meet with them. You find a time that works for the both of you, and then you have yourself an appointment. Nowadays, there's leads that are live transfers. There's companies that client calls in, they're looking for life insurance, and you're on deck for a live transfer. The minute they have them on the hook, they call you, transfer to your phone, you pick up, you make the sale. These products nowadays are all designed to be sold over the phone. And call a client up, walk them through the options, help them make a decision, get a signature through text, get all their banking information over the phone, put it in your laptop, put it in your computer. The policy's approved on the spot. The client is approved on the spot with coverage, and then you're paid the next day. Pretty insane, especially for someone I've been in this business 15 years to see the evolution from driving out to your home with a 30-page paper application, filling everything out, faxing it, hoping I did it right, and then you get approved in a week or so, and now it's happening in a day, in a couple hours, on the spot. Most of the policies we work with, most of the policies we sell are instant decision. And that means exactly what it sounds like. We're going to get a decision instantly, right on the spot. Yes, no. And if it's no, the beauty about being an independent life insurance agent, because you could be a captive agent. What that means in a nutshell, a captive agent is you work for one company and you sell that company's products, and that's it. I would argue that if you're a captive agent, you cannot do the best for your client. And maybe that's, I'm summing it up, maybe it's a generalization, but I don't see how you, with one company and their 3 to 5 products that they have, how can you provide the best option for any client when every client has different needs? We have contracts with over 24 insurance carriers, some of the biggest names in the country. Mutual of Omaha, Corebridge, Americo, Ethos, Aetna, Aflac. The list goes on and on and on. We are set up to have a product for everybody. We have products for the extreme healthy. We have products for substandard health. We have guaranteed issue products that would cover a client that nobody else would. There's very few reasons why you couldn't get a policy with us. One is you live in a nursing home, and then you just can't get a policy. And then there's some extreme health conditions. But with the guaranteed issue, we've covered people that are actively have cancer, had a heart attack last week. Obviously different rates, different coverage amounts, but the point is we have something for everybody, which you cannot say when you're a captive agent. We are independent life insurance agents. So product for everyone, clients for everyone. We have tons of clients. The beauty about what we do is everybody in the United States is a potential client as long as you're above the age 18. Even that's a lie because we cover kids as well. There's children policies. So basically everyone in this country is a potential client. But from a lead standpoint, we're dealing with only the percentage that said, hey, I need some help. We do not work with bait and switch leads. There's companies out there where, again, the lead says one thing, and then when we come out, we're trying to sell you something else. And then you're struggling because you're basically lying to clients, and then your manager's telling you it's you. You just got to get better. You just got to make more calls. You just got to meet with more people. Don't you know anyone? Can't you sell to your friends and family? Now, don't get me wrong. When I started, I got a license. The first handful of policies I sold were to my friends and family, but that wasn't the business strategy. I sold policies to my friends and family because everybody needs life insurance. But I could not make a living only selling to friends and family because eventually, I don't care how big your network is, how big your sphere of influence, they come up with all these little cute names to, try to entice you to give up everybody you know. But eventually we're going to run through that list and we're done. And then what happens is they move on from you to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. We don't do that here. Compensation is a big piece, something that should be the most important, honestly. Now, compensation, I say that, but you kind of need all three. You can have high compensation with no leads equals no sales. So 100% of nothing, still nothing. So you got to have a client database. You got to have the right product. But compensation is a huge part. This is 100% commission. So if you're looking for a base, a salary, this is not for you. But the way you get paid, this is what blew my mind, and I'll break it down in a nutshell. The insurance carriers, they pay an advance commission. So what does that mean in a nutshell? I'm sitting down with a client. The client makes one payment. He picks the premium. Let's say we'll use $83 for easy math. The average is a little bit higher, but we'll go $83, about $1,000 a year for the policy. I sell the policy. Client authorizes one payment. The insurance carrier is going to pay me an advanced commission if I'm set up on advance based on the cost of the policy for the entire year. So client pays $83. The yearly cost is $1,000. Let's say my compensation is 100%, which is a pretty close to starting comp, between 80 to 100%. It's usually the starting comp around here. 100% commission. They're going to advance me 9 months of payment up front, which boils down to about 75%. So $1,000 annual premium, $83 a month. Client makes one payment. I'm at 100%. I'm on advance. The carrier advances me $750 for that one sale. Yes. Sounds crazy. Now, here's the key, though. You got to write quality business. Business has to stick. If I write a policy for $1,000 a year, $183 payment, and my client only makes that one payment, and then they cancel, I now owe that $750 back to the carrier. So what will happen is the next policy I sell, they will recoup their money first before they pay me, which makes sense. Now, if you do this business properly, 70% or more of your policy should stay on the books. So yeah, you're going to get a cancellation here and there, but if you're taking care of clients, if you're putting them in policies that they need and can afford, you shouldn't deal with that many cancellations. It is part of the business. But in an advanced commissions world, that money that's given to you is a loan that's paid back when the client pays their premium. So as you can see, at $750 of advanced commission for one average size sale, this can add up pretty significantly. We also pay bonuses. So let me back up on the comp. There's a lot of times when I say we give out comp over 100%. So we go up to 145%. People go, how in the world can a carrier pay someone 145%? It's above 100. Like I know how numbers work. Thing about it is, even at the shortest term policy, 10 to 15 years, the idea is the client has that policy for 10 to 15 years. The carrier is paying you based off of year one. Now, if we go above that 100%, 145%, we're year one in maybe 4 or 5 months. Call it 2 years. But if the client pays for this policy for 10, 15, 20, 30 years or more, the insurance company, believe me, one thing about insurance companies, they know how to get their money. They know how to make money. So it's not crazy for them to advance 145% to an agent when they have a client that's going to pay for this policy for years to come. They pay us once. Whole life policies do have renewals every year. It's kind of, I guess, a lot of a little bit. It's a couple percent here and there. It varies based off of compensation rate and product, but you will get paid a little bit every single year on a whole life policy. Now, the 75% advance, $750. What happens after those 9 months, you ask? Well, you didn't, but I'm sure you're thinking it. In those 10, 11, and 12 months, you will receive the remaining premium from that policy. That's called an as-earned payment. Every time the client makes the payment, you will get your percentage. So $83, you're at 100% commission. You get another $83 payment in months 10, 11, and 12. So at the end of the year, you've been paid a full $1,000 on this one policy. All right, bonuses. This was another big, I guess, goal of ours when we started the company, was to bonus agents, because we realized that compensation is great, but what's better than a commission payment is a non-chargebackable bonus, and it was something that set us apart from every other company out there. So we pay bonuses to producers. We pay bonuses to VPs. What is a VP with us? A vice president is somebody, it's a level. It's not a vice president of the company. It's a level where your agency is doing over $150,000 in premium in a month. You are then considered a vice president. It then puts you in this pool where you're eligible for a VP bonus. So why is that important? So producer bonuses. If you sell $20,000 in a month, roughly call it 20 policies. If they're about $1,000 a month, again, the premium on average is a little bit higher, but 20 or so policies, 5 a week that get placed, that get paid, you're going to get a $650 bonus that month. You do 30, your bonus is going to be $1,200. This scale goes up. I'm not going to go through every level. If you do choose to reach out and talk to somebody here, they can go through all of this with you. The max producer bonus we pay out in a month is $20,000 to a producer. So last month we had over, because the other important part about a bonus program, and this is stuff, if you're looking to work here or other places, you should ask these questions. Do you have a bonus program? If they say no, why not? Well, you probably should just leave. If they say yes, well, what's the range? What's the smallest bonus? What's the largest bonus? And how many people actually receive a bonus? Because I've talked to agents that work at companies that, oh, there's a bonus program, all right, but nobody gets a bonus. Maybe 5 people. Our producer bonus last month was paid out to over 600 producers, just producers. VP bonus. This is for groups that do over 150K. We had last month over 200 VPs get a bonus. What was their bonus? The largest bonus was over 200,000. Yes, 200,000 to one individual. The smallest bonus was over 1,000. And it's all based off of the volume. And there's a bonus pool. So I'll give you a little bit of how this works. We, FFL, we take a look at what we placed for business that month, what was placed in force. Right now we're running close to about $60 million a month in paid premium. We index 4.5% of that and create a bonus pool. 4.5% of $60 million is roughly $2.7 million. So last month we paid out about $2.7 million in bonuses across 200 different agencies to 200 different agencies to 200 different vice presidents. So why did I tell you all that? Because a couple things that set us apart from other industries is our compensation plan, I believe, is the best out there. The bonus plan we have is the best out there. I've not seen many other IMOs that even have a bonus program, let alone anything close to this. I've seen some where their entire bonus program is equivalent to what our top bonus recipient receives in a month. So those are important questions. Don't take this, oh, well, we have a bonus pro, we can't give you any information on it. Well, that means they can't give you any information on it. It means the information is not impressive enough to make you want to work there. It means it's another form of bait and switch. If it's the equity, whether you're going to be a profit sharing and this and that, ask how much was paid out last month, who made the most, what was it, who made the least, what was it, how many individuals were actually paid. That's what's important. So, bonus. Last thing, the training, because I told you about how we get paid, where we get our clients from, the products we sell, the carriers we work with. But to someone who's never sold life insurance or sold life insurance somewhere else, how are you going to learn how to do what we do? Well, the beauty about checking us out at this point, now that we've been around for almost 12 years, we've had a lot of time to work out the kinks, to figure out what processes work the most. And the numbers I'm about to share with you will back up everything I told you about our goal to be the spot where the life insurance producer can make the most money, be the best possible landing spot for an independent insurance agent. That was our goal. So far this year, and if you're watching this at a later date, this is roughly, we're in October of 25 from a number standpoint. Right now, we have our top 450 agents year to date are all over 200,000 sold personally. It's not an agency number. That is an individual that went out and sold over 200,000, and it's only October. What does that mean from a financial standpoint? Everyone's at different compensation levels, but if you use the math that we used earlier, 75% advance, 70% stays on the books, these individuals from just a gross commission standpoint are going to be somewhere between 150, 180,000 in commissions roughly. Again, all those numbers vary. It all depends on your quality of business, the compensation rate you're at. Either way, you can be at the lowest compensation that we give out, which is like 80%, unless you're getting some special lead assistance or things of that nature. And 80% of 200K is still a decent amount of money for it only being October. So 450 people at that level. And I tell you that because that's another question you should ask if you're interviewing at a company is, how many producers sold 200,000 this year? How many sold 500? How many were over $1 million? And I bet at most companies, no one's going to sell over $1 million. You'll have one or two over 500,000, and you damn sure ain't going to have 450 over 200K. Our award show at our annual convention, we almost need a pre-show to start giving out awards because of how many individuals have hit these significant numbers. And it's just to show you how much the industry has changed. In October, we have 450 people over 200,000. When I sold at that old company, if you sold 200,000, you'd be in the top 15 at the end of the year. Why has it changed so much? The processes. We're also remote now. We can make sales over the phone. 15 years ago, we were driving out to home, so there's only so many hours in the day that you can meet with someone. Now you could be on the East Coast selling to people on the West Coast after hours on the East Coast, but there's a 3-hour time difference, so you could double your production in a day if you're willing to give up some sleep and work at some hours that may be odd to other people. So 450,000 or 450 people over 200K. Our top 75 currently have all issued over 400,000 personally. So they doubled that, top 75. Our top 20, all over 500K to date. $500,000 in insurance personally sold. It's just personal production numbers. And our top 5 are all over $1 million right now. What does that mean? Why do I tell you all that? What that means is if you work with Family First Life and you need to figure out how to do this, there's hundreds of people, probably a couple thousand if you really break down to, people that are over 100K this year that know what they're doing, that have figured out the process, and that are willing to help you. It is one big team. We also reward our producers with trips. Last year, we sent 200 of our top producers to Cancun. Next year, we got 200 of our top producers going to Puerto Rico. 2 years before that, they went on a Royal Caribbean cruise, all for going out and helping families and making money for themselves. So they sold the policy, protect the family. They got paid. If they're on track for the cruise, they definitely earn bonuses along the way, or if they're on track for the trip, and then they get a trip paid for by Family First Life. I say all that, though, and I don't want to leave this part out. This is not for everybody. Do I think everybody watching can do this? No. But who can do it? Someone who's coachable, someone who's willing to come in and check their ego at the door. You get people all the time. I used to sell this, and I can sell snow, and they say all that stupid shit. I can sell ice to Eskimos and yada, yada, blah, blah. Nobody cares. It's not funny. It's not cute. It sounds stupid. We don't sell ice. We don't sell to Eskimos. We sell life insurance to people that ask for it. And you're going to get told no. There's going to be ups and downs. There is going to be a learning curve. I don't care how good you think you are at sales. This is a different sale. Selling someone who asks for something's a lot different than cold calling, cold knocking, or whatever the hell they call it nowadays, being dropped off in a neighborhood with a bunch of people banging on doors, or being that annoying guy at Home Depot trying to sell me solar while I'm just trying to buy some trim for my bedroom, or being that annoying guy at Walmart trying to sell me a cell phone service when I walked in with a cell phone already that has service. This is different. Can anybody do it? No, but it doesn't take, there's no experience required. You got to be coachable. You got to be hardworking. You got to be willing to manage your mindset. You got to be willing to fail. You're not going to close everybody. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have great days. You're going to buy leads. And then you're not going to make sales. And then you have to buy more leads. It's an up and down. It's a grind. But with over 450 people at $200K year to date, $60 million a month in paid premium. It's a lot of people that are going out and validating the model that we have. So if you are interested, check us out. Go to familyfirstlife.com. There's an agent inquiry button. You hit that button, fill out all the information, and we will have a manager close to you give you a call, give you a shot. And I think that's probably the best thing is it doesn't take experience. You got to be 18 years old. You got to have an insurance license. We'll help you get an insurance license. We'll actually pay for your pre-licensing course. Save you $100 to $200 depending on your state. Your state fees you'd have to take care of. So what would it cost to get you started? The class is free on us, and then you'd have to pay your state a fee to get your license. Every state's a little different. I'm here in Connecticut. I believe it's less than $200 when it's all said and done. But outside of getting a license, there are no requirements. Be above the age 18, be coachable, be a good person. That's the last thing I'll say. You have to genuinely care about people to have success in this business. Because of the fact that I'm not selling you a car or solar panels or Tupperware or VAT. No disrespect to anyone who does that stuff. I'm not selling you knives that are going to slice your tomatoes better or whatever the hell. I'm selling you a policy, something that is going to be placed in force, something that is going to help you and your family in the absolute worst moment of their lives. I've done this long enough. I've had several death claims. It's weird because it's a horrible feeling and a great feeling all at once when a beneficiary calls you and says, "Hey, Mike, my husband passed away last week and you wrote him a policy a handful of years ago. Is that still good? Is that going to cover?" And then you help the client out. You call the carrier, and then you call your beneficiary back and say, yeah, the policy is in force, and you're going to be getting a check for whatever it is, $20,000, $50,000, $250K, and you help out in that process. And the one thing, you can't change the fact that the husband or wife died. You can't fix that, but what you can do is in that time of grieving, the one thing they're not worried about is the financial piece. And unfortunately, that's the piece that usually hits the most is you're dealing with this loss, but then you're also wondering, how in the world am I going to pay for this? Families go in debt. People have to move. Wives have to leave the house with their kids because the husband passed or vice versa. And we're able to put something in place that prevents that. So you do have to actually care about people to do this. You can't fake that part. At the end of the day, why would a client buy from you? Why would they wouldn't? Did they like you? Did they trust you? And did you make it affordable? If you can do those two things, you'll be able to help a lot of families. If you can check your ego and have the right mindset. We have plenty of people that have done it already. Can you come in, forget whatever you've done before, and subscribe to this process? You might have success. Either way, if you are interested, if you want more information, go to familyfirstlife.com, fill out an agent inquiry form. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. We do training. There's 2 big trainings every year. There's an Ignite meeting. There's 2 of these. One's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast. That is free to attend. Last year, the West Coast one was in Phoenix, and the East Coast one was in Boca Raton, Florida. And then every January, end of January, early February, we do an annual convention. This is our big event, our recap from the previous year, our kickoff to the next year. Past few years, this has been in Irving, Texas, the Irving Convention Center. We bounce this around every few years, but it's a big, big event. 4,000 or 5,000 agents packed in, 3-4 days of training. We've had some big keynotes in the past. We've had Deion Sanders. We've had Shannon Sharp. We've had Alex Rodriguez. We're having Gary Vee. We've had so many, Jocko, David Goggins. I can't even remember the names of how many big name speakers. And then we've also had these guys, the guys that sell, the guys that did over $1 million, the guys that did over $500,000. They get on stage and they tell you exactly how they did it. So if you're interested, you know where to go, familyfirstlife.com. Hopefully we'll hear from you soon. I appreciate y'all joining me today.